Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to look at the latest on the cold snap we're going to be seeing come the end of this working week. Cold air, Arctic air is going to be moving in through Thursday into Friday, giving widespread cold conditions well below average, something we haven't seen in around 7 or 8 months. Many areas are going to be seeing a frost even towards southern England, and there is the risk in northern and eastern areas to be seeing a few wintry showers. Again, not expecting anything crazy. There's not a particularly unusual pattern, but it is going to be a big shock to the system, considering that only 2 months ago we were in 30-degree heat waves. Now we are into proper cold wintry weather. Now, that is the next sort of 5 days or so as we head into the weekend, but what does the longer range have in store? And it continues to throw a big spanner in the works. Some runs are prolonging the colder pattern, still relatively dry, not looking like there's any snow or major snow in the next sort of week or two. Definitely lots of colder weather and frost and fog and wintry showers. Other runs are introducing milder air as high-pressure topples, and there are even a few minority runs introducing lower pressure. And again, depending on exactly where the weather fronts align with that, it would bring persistent precipitation. And I do say precipitation because, of course, cold air moving in, there is, of course, the risk, especially over the hills and further northwards, of maybe some snow as we head into the latter part of November and early December. But, of course, we'll explore that in the second half of the video, as we are seeing a lot of spread from some of the runs. GFS today pushing a big Scandinavian high, potentially developing proper easterly winds, and other runs showing some more higher pressure blocking, more over the top of us, and even some runs showing lower pressure moving in, and of course that bringing the risk of some snowfall in places. So as I said, we'll look at that in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now you can see at the moment we have generally dry conditions, bit of thick cloud around and lots of drizzle in places. We have got a flat westerly wind, so pretty mild air mass. Generally higher pressure, and that's why we're not seeing any major areas of rain, but galore and moisture trapped to the surface, so we're going to see outbreaks of drizzly rain in places. We saw that today, and we're likely to see that again tomorrow. We are going to see a cold front that is just to the north of Scotland now. It is going to be spreading southwards, and it is going to start to bring that much colder air in for northern areas through Thursday afternoon into the evening, and for all areas as we head into Friday. Now, if you look at the temperatures at the moment, it's actually not particularly cold at all, around 7:30. Maybe a little bit of colder, frostier conditions over the higher ground tonight, but really most areas around the high single digits, even touching 9 or 10 degrees further north, as we've got more of a flat westerly wind. You can see here, western Scotland, western Ireland, northern Ireland, seeing the mildest conditions at the moment with that flat westerly. Tonight, it's southern and eastern areas, most likely to see those temperatures drop away towards the mid-single digits, but it is nothing compared to what's coming as we head into the weekend. Now, if we do have a look at the latest UKV, we'll start on the precipitation. As we head through the coming hours, you can see more drizzly light rain through tomorrow, and as we head into the afternoon and evening, there's a more heavier but very small band of rain there. That is the cold front that is bringing the Arctic air in behind it, and it heading southwards through Wednesday evening. It slowly makes progress through Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon, pretty much by the evening, covering sort of 50% now of the British Isles. You can see even showers into Scotland now starting to turn wintry. As we progress through the rest of Thursday into Friday, all areas into that cold air, and you see wintry showers quite widely for Scotland, maybe even down the east coast of England as well. Again, uncertainty with that depends on the exact flow. We've still got another couple of days to sort that out. As we head beyond that, we do continue to see more clear skies in places, and that will develop harsher frosts as we head through Friday into Saturday. And you can see eventually we do start to see a little bit of a westerly flow move in, and this is where we could see rainfall bumping into that cold air. No snow here from the latest UKV, but it's kind of sliding southeastwards, and you can see it's colliding between the very cold air to our northeast, mild air to our southwest, with kind of more in the milder sector, so no snow with this, but it would keep it cold and pretty miserable indeed as we head into Sunday. And of course, high pressure is still to our north. You can see that high pressure up to our north, and on the backside of this low, we're likely to wrap that cold air back in, so that would turn it much colder once again. So if we do have a look at the upper air temperatures, you can see the very cold air starting to move in, and you can see milder air initially, but that basically cold air arriving through Thursday into Friday, covering most of the country at least for around 24 hours, and then dominating further eastwards into Saturday before slowly getting pushed away into Sunday. But it never leaves the picture here because it's going to return as we head beyond that. That return and how long it lasts beyond that is where we're seeing a lot of uncertainty. Some runs even actually don't push it away at all through Sunday. So there is a lot of uncertainty through the weekend and beyond with the exact pattern, exact wind direction, as that's going to decide where that cold air moves in. The cold air is going to be to our east. It is going to be sat there. It's whether we do tap into it as we do progress to the final days of November. Now, if you look at the max temperatures, you'll be able to see it is going to turn very cold as we head towards the end of this week, especially very cold for November. Tomorrow afternoon, we're looking widely at sort of 9 to 12 degrees, so not amazingly cold, but not particularly mild either. As we progress into Thursday, again, generally chilly conditions around, further northwards, as that cold front moves in, southwards, still 10 to 13 degrees. But into Friday, all that cold air moves in, and many areas in the north seeing frost overnight to Friday, and by Friday afternoon, really struggling around 6 or 7 degrees, even further southwards. Eastern and northern coasts, only 3 to maybe 6 degrees. So cooling down quite substantially, and overnight Friday into Saturday, look at that widespread frost developing as all areas start to get into that really quite cold air. Could see -5, -6 degrees there into Saturday, and look by Saturday afternoon, struggling once again at widely sort of 3 to 5 degrees, even for inland areas further southwards. So it is going to be turning a lot colder, and some areas further northwards over higher ground in Scotland might not even get above freezing. And of course, with the risk of a bit of winteriness around, we could see some temporary snowfall. As we progress into Sunday, though, you can see those temperatures do rise, but of course we've still got cold air trapped at the surface, so we're still struggling around the mid to high single digits. Of course, when you add on the feel-like temperature to that and the wind chill, it probably would still feel like 4 or 5 degrees. So yes, could see some temporary milder air moving back in, but the majority of runs keep that cold air to our east or over the top of us as we do progress into the final days of November. So do have a look at the latest GFS. Again, very interesting once again today with its overall pattern. You can see the westerly flow in the moment. Northerly winds arrive. The high pressure slowly topples, but it doesn't properly topple. And by Monday, we see low pressure move through, and we're starting to wrap easterly winds back in with a Scandinavian high. Again, uncertainty exactly how cold this would be. Potentially only some properly colder weather to its northern and eastern edges. It is slightly further northwards. And as we progress beyond that, we continue to see blocking patterns to our north, continuing to keep high pressure close by and trying to bring in easterly winds pretty consistently to the end of this run. Now you see the northerly blast coming in later this week. Could see some temporary milder air move in, but really doesn't dominate at all. And then cold air wraps in around the northern edge of this low. Again, uncertainty with exact positioning. For eventually we see more cooler air come in from the east as we progress into the longer term. So quite a bit of oscillating between the upper air temperatures, but at the surface with pretty slow moving winds, slow moving changes in air, and generally colder air in and around and close by. Even when we do see those upper air temperatures jump a little bit, it is still going to feel pretty cold. So you can see quite a big step change as we head through the next few days. And of course, this is looking out into a couple of weeks' time, which, we know at the best of times isn't particularly accurate at all. Of course, it does show trends well, but we can see some big flip-flopping this time of the year. So anything outside of sort of 7 days or so, we take with a big grain of salt. And even within the next 7 days, you can see the models don't entirely agree with each other. Now, if we do have a look at the latest GM, see what that is showing. Again, it has been fairly pessimistic over the last week or so. You can see northerly wind coming in, high pressure toppling slowly, but then the high pressure moves northwards once again, and we see more northerly and northeasterly flows. Again, wouldn't be miraculously wintry or anything like that, as we are generally in drier, higher pressure dominated patterns. But you can see the milder air comes in for a couple of days there from Monday and Tuesday. Cold air returns, and actually we do see a bit of a low down in the southeast, which could wrap in cold air on its back edge and could again bring the risk of some falling snow at least, and we stay pretty cold all the way to day 10. Actually, do want to have a look at that low. If we do have a look at the total snow depth for this, do we see any snow? Actually, it does. Right towards the end of this run, the final day of November, does develop some snow for Wales, southern England into northern France. So again, very interesting seeing that from the GM. You can see the overall pattern isn't, amazingly prolonged, blocked, cold spell. Not a classic sort of pattern, but it is blocked enough, it is cold enough that it could bring the risk of a pattern like this. We need to keep a very close eye on that as we progress. Again, take note that this is completely different to the GFS, highlighting the uncertainty in the next sort of 5 to 10 days and beyond, really. If you compare to the ECMWF, again, if we do run through this, again, northerly winds arriving over the next couple of days. High pressure does slowly topple. It kind of sits over the top of us. We do see a bit of a westerly flow there for a time, a couple of days of maybe milder weather. Then we see another northerly wind arrive, keeping us fairly cold and fresh. It's pretty similar to the GM, just doesn't quite have that wraparound low further southward. So you see cold air coming in initially, slightly milder air coming in for a couple of days, and then cold air returning beyond that, keeping us fairly cold into the longer range. Even when we do see that milder air come in, it probably still would remain fairly chilly under the higher pressure, maybe a bit of an inversion going on. But there is a lot of spread, and we can see that by looking at the latest ensembles. You can see generally mild actually over the next day or two with that westerly flow, then a big drop. For about 2 or 3 days, all ensemble members have us around that -5 line, especially in London. Then we could see a slow rise, and some runs go towards average again, with those upper air temperatures returning to the normal for this time of year, with that westerly flow toppling of the higher pressure. But I must emphasise there is a split, about 50-50 split, some runs going back towards average, some runs staying pretty cold, and those will be the runs that don't quite topple that high pressure and keep that cold air lingering. Beyond that though, the general pattern still is for colder air to be in and around, with the average from the ensemble still around that -5 or -4, -5 region, again keeping us pretty cold into the longer term. There are some precipitation spikes, again some of this will be snow on these ensembles, but again we can't look at that in any detail at all at this time frame. But the GFS continuing the trend of a pretty cold next couple of weeks. Exactly how it will play out is still uncertain. Whether we see any wind chillness, not likely in the next few days or the next 5 days. But beyond that, there is the possibilities like we saw in the GM. But again, can't look at that in too much detail because it is still in the uncertain time frame. And again, I don't want to overhype there being any snow at all. We've hardly actually mentioned snow in the last week or so. Really only been talking about cold, as that's going to be the main impact from this pattern. You can see the 2 metre temperatures are going to be pretty chilly indeed. Look at that, 5 or 6 degrees at best over the next couple of weeks. And again, wind chill making it feel colder than that. And some days where we do build that colder air towards the surface, that layer of colder air, we could see even colder than that. The dew points as well are going to be very cold later this week. Could rise just above freezing with those milder runs with the westerly flow returning, but the majority keep us in around that freezing point. So again, dry, cold air. And if we finish by looking at the latest ECMWF, unfortunately, the 12 o'clock run hasn't fully come out, but you can see it is going to go very cold this weekend. If we do look at the midnight run, it is in broadly similar to the GFS. Very cold as we progress through the end of this week. Then we see a slight rise as we head into the start of next working week, but still quite a few ensemble members keeping us cold. I'd say more go milder, but there is still quite a big split. And then most actually turn us colder once again for a few days and keep us generally below average for the foreseeable future. So we're not looking at a historic cold spell or anything majorly wintry. It is going to feel cold. It's going to feel potentially very cold at times with the wind chill. There is the risk of quite a lot of frost around, very low overnight temperatures in places. And of course, you cannot rule out some wintriness at times, especially in the north and east through the latter part of this week and maybe in the longer term if we do see some lower pressure or disturbances start to develop. But of course, that is something we're going to keep a very close eye on in the longer term. At the moment, though, the headline is going to be turning a lot colder than it's been so far this week, and a lot colder than it's been so far this autumn. It's the coldest weather, as I said, we've had for about 8 months, going back to probably March time now. So do make sure you get your hat and gloves out, wrap up warm later this week. It's going to be a real quick changeover with that cold front sweeping through on Thursday and Friday. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you stay up to date with the videos, of course. I'll keep you updated if we do see any major changes. And of course, that longer range is still looking incredibly interesting. So we have to keep on top of that. And I'll see you again for another video soon.